Welcome to Comply Online, a division of ScotSafe, Occupational Health and Safety Compliance Agents. My name is Rodney Scott. I'm the Chief Executive Officer and owner of ScotSafe.
Thanks, Rodney. Dr. Nicholas Eval, in charge of online development at Comply Online and the co-creator of the 2010 Brand Ambassador Program for SA Tourism for the 2010 FIFA World Cup.
Together, Nicholas and I, we've been given a mandate through Rennie's Travel to assist bed and breakfast owners that belong to the Red Stamp Club to comply with the requirements of this Occupational Health and Safety Act.
So Rodney, why is compliance such a big issue for this environment, for B&Bs, for guest houses, and what can really go wrong in this environment?
First of all, there are a number of fundamental changes to the law. The most important one is that the Chief Executive Officer or owner of the company, in this particular case a bed and breakfast, is accountable for the health and safety of his or her employees, and of course making sure that they're providing for the protection of those other than employees on the premises. So that would mean, of course, contractors and guests that are visiting the premises.
So there's a criminal and a civil liability for the owner of a B&B.
Yes, when an accident takes place and there's an inquiry, the Department of Labour would want the owner of the B&B to ensure and prove and show that they were responsible and met all the requirements of this legislation.
So just to make sure, what is the maximum sentence such liability could carry?
In the case of a fatality in the workplace, a person found guilty of culpable homicide, 2 years imprisonment, 100,000 Rand fine.
Okay, so that's quite a big liability. What is it that can go wrong at the B&B?
When you have a look at bed and breakfast, there are a number of places that could cause accidents. Of course, kitchens are always the first one that we look at. There are activities in the kitchen that are dangerous. Employees are working with sharp objects. They are using hot oils and fats to cook. They have gas that they're using to heat up goods. And those are very dangerous and do cause accidents in those kinds of workplaces. Food hygiene, of course, is also a big issue in terms of now preparing and serving food to guests.
So what steps do you have to take as a B&B owner to become compliant?
First and foremost, we'd want the owner of the bed and breakfast to commit himself and sign a policy statement of intent. We'd want him to delegate this to one of his staff members if possible, and go through a very basic safety training course to get a bit of a background. Then go through our self-assessment checklist, which will just guide them in terms of registering with certain organizations. One of them happens to be the compensation fund. Very important to register with this fund to ensure that your employees are covered when they are involved in accidents and require medical attention. The other one, of course, in terms of registration is this one for preparing food in the workplace. One would register with a local town council, have the environmental health officer come out and issue what we call a certificate of acceptability. There are other documents that have to be completed and the inspections that have to be carried out, so one needs a checklist to assist you with that. And then, of course, when an accident happens, you need to know what the procedure is and what forms to fill in.
So when the inspector arrives at your doorstep, you need to be in a position to prove that you have taken reasonable steps to ensure compliance.
Exactly, and once you've gone through the self-assessment and completed all these documents, you will have a folder with everything in there that the inspector would require when he visits.
So in a nutshell, Comply Online is a self-service tailor-made for the tourism industry, especially B&B and guest houses, that allows you to train yourself, to train your staff, and to continually self-assess your level of compliance. So please go online and make sure you become compliant and safe rather than sorry.